Hey everyone, welcome back to On the Fence Movie Reviews, and this is another edition of Retro Reviews. So I am Adrian, joined with my
And
fellow
I am
colleague
Rob.
Rob, and today we're going to be continuing our retro review series of Christopher Nolan films. And so we did Memento last time, and today we're going to be doing one of his how would I say? I don't want to say forgotten, but one of the ones that kind of gets pushed to the back where everyone thinks
Yeah.
of all the other films. It's Insomnia, which came out in 2002, and it stars three Oscar winners: Al Pacino, Hilary Swank, and Robin Williams. And now this film stars Al Pacino playing Dormer, who's a detective who is being sent out on loan to a place called Night Mute in Alaska, where basically sun just stays out all day long, and he's basically out there because one of the reasons is he's also becoming under investigation from his department in LA, but he's also there to assist murder of a young girl, and so it kind of takes off from there, and we see a young idealistic one played by Hilary Swank, who has actually followed Dahmer's career and ever since the time she was in academy. And so it's a pretty interesting story. Rob, you want me to take the lead on this one, or are you going to take it?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Let's hear your thoughts on this one of the, I would say, not forgotten Nolan films, but one of his earlier Nolan films.
Yeah.
So let's hear your take on it.
Well, let me get off. Let me start off right away by saying when I first watched this film, I was a while back, and I remember when it like around close to when it first came out, and I remember kind of it being pushed almost like a murder mystery, in that sense. And so when I first watched it, I wasn't too impressed. Like I didn't think it was terrible, but I wasn't like I was like, oh, it was okay. But when I watched it again for this review, one of the things I immediately noticed is that it's not a straight up, murder mystery, who done it, let's solve the crime of the killer. Yes, that is, but that's a bit more of like a secondary subplot, if you will. It's really about and this is what I really loved about it, is how it focuses on the characters, how it focuses on Al Pacino's character, who is dealing with this investigation that he's under, and he's also kind of like realizing and struggling that he may have not done certain things ethically, so to speak, and so it's catching up to him. And so when he has this incident with his partner in the woods, I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but he starts to question himself. Did I do these things intentionally, or was it a mistake, or what was it? And he starts to wrestle with that. And as you see him deteriorate through the film, because one, he can't sleep because of the light. It's he can't sleep. The light is always shining in his hotel room, and he's struggling. You start to see him, just like his face looks really tore up, the way he's kind of, the physical acting that Al Pacino does, you really start to feel it by the end of the film. Like, man, this guy is really going through it. And that's one of the things that really stood out to me, and that's one of the things that I really loved and enjoyed about this film, and that's what it really got to me. And then also Robin Williams, the kind of how, what I loved about this too is that Robin Williams, you don't get to see his character till after like the first hour of the film. And the way he just delivers his dialogue, it's very smart, very to the point, and he kind of matches wits with Dahmer, which is Al Pacino's character. And so overall, I just really enjoyed the film. I really liked the questions that it asked, that like, things that are they ethical to do something, even if you know that this person is in the wrong, and but just because you might not have enough evidence to convict, is it right to do a certain thing to try to put this person in prison or whatever? And so ask those questions. And I really love the last line of this film, which is, don't lose your way. And I think that's kind of the moral of the story, is like, you don't want to lose your way in trying to pursue what is right. And so those are the things that really stuck out with me, and those are the things I really enjoyed about this film. Rob, what do you got?
Well, I mean, almost online with you, Adrian. I would say something that I guess a phrase that came to my mind was, does like the ends justify the means kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and you touched on it. I'm gonna almost, I'm not gonna try not to repeat stuff you said, but the dialogue in this movie is amazing. There's a conversation that two characters have on a boat, and just the whole time they're talking, I was just it's a tense
Yes, I
conversation
think I
that they're
remember
having.
the
Yeah,
scene you're talking about. It's
yeah,
really good. Yeah.
yeah. And I was the whole time I even when I recently watched it, I rewound it just to watch it again because it sucks you in to where you feel the tension and you feel like, kind of like a tick for tat kind of thing between these two characters.
Yeah.
So I would say the conversation, the dialogue in this movie is amazing. Obviously, you have Al Pacino, who is a great actor, Robin Williams, who's also a great actor, and an up and coming Hilary Swank, who I feel is not not that because she's in this movie a good amount, but I feel like she's almost in our position where she's like spectating and kind of trying to put pieces together
Yeah.
the way we are as an audience. So I love the fact that that's kind of, I feel like that's storytelling, but also direction in the sense of like we're getting kind of like a look at someone who would be looking at this, and it's our perspective, but it's just there's a character in this movie who's kind of seen stuff the way we would see it. So, I mean, this movie again, I feel like it's maybe one of Nolan's, forgotten films, if you will. But
Yeah.
I don't want to say forgotten because it's a Nolan film, but one of his less hyped films because it's
Yeah.
not a trilogy or high profile movie, but it's definitely and I'd even text you. I was just like watching this movie again. It reminded me of how great Nolan is, even from way back then, and just how awesome a filmmaker
Well,
he is.
that was one of the things that I forgot to mention, but I also I wanted to, and you're reminding me about it is he's kind of had, even though he at that point he wasn't like the Nolan that we know of today,
Right, right.
but he still had an idea of his craft and he kept things very very tight, you know, and even the way they work with the editing, just the way they do certain cuts to
Yeah,
give you that sort of on edge feeling that we're feeling with Al Pacino's character,
right,
where
right.
as he's progressing into this insomnia, where he can't sleep, he's just starting to deal, and he's starting to see flashes of things. It affects him, and so as a viewer, you start to feel those things. You start to feel like
Right.
in certain parts like a little bit on edge because it's a really tight film, the editing, but then also the pacing, and I think that's all by design with Nolan's thought process of how do we keep the story moving without having any dead space, and I
Right,
think
right, right.
some films can tend to be that way where they have to have, okay, we're going to have this scene and then we're going to have this character come in and we're going to have exposition and they're going to explain stuff and then we're going to have this and they're going to explain stuff, and it's just no, he just keeps things moving smoothly, and you don't really feel that where it's
Yeah,
lags.
yeah. No, it's a really, I agree with you, and it's a really smart movie. Whereas, I one thing I don't like is when a movie like tells me something and doesn't
Uh-huh.
let me figure it out. And I feel throughout this movie, there's breadcrumbs where to lead you to like you're not they're not telling you anything. They're explaining a story and you're going
Yeah.
along with it. And like you were saying with the editing, when Pacino starts to like kind of he gets the insomnia kind of stuff where he's not getting his the right amount of sleep, or he's just
Yeah.
the lights keeping him up. And visually I got frustrated in watching him because I was like, this is frustrating for me because I can only imagine what he would be
Yeah.
going through in this movie. So again, it's an awesome movie. Nolan does a great job. All the actors do an amazing job. And yeah, I don't know, any is there anything negative that you found about this
Well,
movie?
well, if there's one thing that I had to say that I felt as a bit of a negative is that Hilary Swank is a little bit underutilized because
Okay.
she is a very talented actress. She's very good in the things that she does, but she's kind of like, more to your point, like she's a bit of a spectator, you know, like what you were saying, like we
Right.
we kind of just we just sort of like we're seeing what she's saying,
Right, right,
so
right,
like she's a bit underutilized. So I as she starts to uncover things when she's doing her little side investigation in the film,
right.
and it uncovers it, kind of that doesn't get enough attention. But
Okay.
again, it's not really the point of the film. So I that's why it's a minor gripe, because I would like to see her a little bit more, work side by side with Pacino's character. But
Right.
at the same time, I understand that it's not, the whole point of the story. So I'm not going to complain too much about it. But
All right.
you have any problems with it?
You know what? No, there was times where I thought I was having an issue, but then I thought about it. I was like, no, like this is like when I get fresh, when I certain things that Pacino does in the movie was frustrating me. But then I had to think about it, like, well, this guy's dealing with sleep loss, and how do I feel? Like
Yeah,
if when I was young and I stood up for
the way he's like
24
carrying
hours, yeah,
himself, and
yeah.
like
So I
just
was
like
like, well, why would he do that? But then I was like, oh no, he's losing sleep, so he's not.
yeah, his judgment is clouded,
Right,
and the
right.
what he's doing and stuff like that, and it's a matter of perspective, and I saw
Yes.
another scene that was really great towards the end, where the hotel that he's staying in, and the I guess it's the hotel manager, where she comes in
Oh
and she
yeah.
goes,
Great,
you
great.
got complaints about, you're making too much noise, and he's like, it's just so bright in here, and he's like, I can't keep it dark, and he's like trying to block out the windows, and she goes, no, it's dark in here, and she turns on the light, and you see how
Yeah.
bright the room becomes.
Right.
And I think that's a great little scene in there, because he has that conversation with her that precedes, or that follows that, but
Right.
that just that visual cue of, or showing, like saying, like, it's a matter of perspective of where
Right.
you're at in your life, or where you're at as a person, as a character. you know you could either be in a dark place or a bright place, but that's more about how you're feeling and how you live with that.
Yep.
And again, so there are these great thoughts and things that you think about throughout this film. So it's a really, really great film, and I really, really enjoyed it. So for me, Rob, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm gonna jump off this fence and recommend that all of you guys watching at home should go and rent this film, or buy it on iTunes or Vudu or whatever you use to purchase your digital films. I say go watch it.
I'm gonna say go ahead and get off the fence as well and check out this movie, because this is like you were saying before, you see the glimpse of Nolan and his brilliance, but I agree with you. It's just you see his progress. As you watch his movies, you see his progression, but you kind of see, like, look at the brilliance of this director, even back back way when.
Yeah.
So I would say get off the fence and check this movie out.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for watching our review of Insomnia. Why don't you comment down below and let us know what you thought of the film? And also, don't forget to click like, subscribe, share with all of your friends, and follow us on social media on Instagram at On the Fence Movie Reviews.
And remember, we'll catch you on the fence.